Tindi galak Benjin Wajade Jijan the Jawangi like Hebramache. Any Pagi Jawan inata, you the Kenley in the Kegur, the Jingur, the Gondugala, but Namkan Zimbit Semade, you did it there. Namka Zimbit Semayorwa. Semade, that Pagi Jawana in Suware, Namka Majaj. The Jadigala Tatina, any Pumbe, Tangi Chini Tela Babadala, Jijawala. Pumpan with Samajana degree was those chinits of a those Chepacha water, Pagi, those chin Chepachigri. Also, thousand under those Tangri. Many Jawan Latisha Wakakis and carriers. A Kunya Jabagi, Jijawaina, Jawan Gumare. Namgitangi Jawanina, Vigin Wala Kigure, Jijawala Kigumare. Chingy tell them Babe. Jinza Jion said love grace. She just to steal. La. I watch common songs. She wanda, she won't borrow Kawa you made some water. Or take Kunjan water, the particular. Jijon in a Jawan Gumares. Jijan Senator, one of Jijan and Carla Goras. Chini tell them about jeans and Jijan like this. Jawan in you the killing to me, Kegures. Benjing want to jealous. La Benjing want to jealous. And Benjing, Jijan the Jawan like Cabramache, any Jigmare, Cabramache. Any Namki Tangita Jamala Injimiji Luci Gure, Tindi, Namkan with some of the Chagres. Namkajani Digo Maro, you take it like any key or Marwa. To continue from the previous class, about the two different scholars. The interpretation of or I should say the analysis of the other powered phenomena. So dus lamne kasa penda yong sarves samla tamtumna penda tosu. So Gajala's asking, is this way kind of helpful to understand the concept or not? Basically here the two Pension and Kunjan, short form of their name, Pension Sonam Thakbo and Kunjan Jamesha, about two great scholars. The bottom line here is, one, the Kunjan's, the Pension says that there is no differences between other powered phenomena and the basis of the other powered phenomena. And the Kunjan says that there is a difference between, other powered phenomena and the basis of the other powered phenomena. So Geshe-la is presenting kind of just their ways of analysis, and so the one says there is a difference, one says there isn't a difference, and so to kind of give kind of further explanation how they interpret. Kunjan says that when you talk about other powered phenomena, as in mind-only school here, it refers to what it means according to the mind-only school. Other powered phenomena refers to things that are under the power of cause and conditions for its existence. But the basis of other powered phenomena refers to the emptiness of that kind of that phenomena. And here the other scholar Pension, according to him, other powered phenomena is the composite phenomena, which composite phenomena, if is things that rely upon cause and factors for its existence. And when he used kind of example, valid cognitive mind apprehending the space. That awareness itself is the other powered phenomena of the space. So here, it's the important thing is these are the different ways of analysis, and especially in monastery, the monk spends a lot of time debating, like analysis, and so this is kind of a way that you can further kind of investigate, analyze the different meaning and whether the meanings are valid or not.
Benjingi yang gombaje parchamalmbi gila semje me sumgo nyamjale chungile nyambar jaji bare chungil wondu kirugala kunzo bichi tamje inanlo be tamje di ene bindu parchamalmbi gila semje me gunye jaji semje yes yona wondu de yogu mares ene wondu de yes sumgo tende ki chepra mambo ar tende
kunyi ngodoshina penje na kunyi
penjen sonam traba sedugala une jero bichu ngolobe nduzi traba kyatsan sinchi chore nduzi jero bichu ngolobe odigi yasere trazan lo selling da galen sharche tante sugita ichira pade kungin jaha je basri loban dawa traba yasere 이갈서 좀 못니까 에너로건 다와다봐 얘네 군인자 좀 도스체네 엔디제네 다 군인자 이제 거기 차도 고만다 에네 라브란테 시킬도 소유다 때레 먹고 신게 아다 도스체레 에는 개방 니가 받쳐 버리 알아지 말아요 삼로 공부제다 말아 삼타 하마다 차와
These two scholars, commonly called as Penchen and Quinchen, I just because these two scholars, I asked Geshe-la to give kind of introduce who these two are, because we are using this name. So I thought it would be good to have at least to know who these two are, because when we look at the Tibetan monastic system, Quinchen is the Quinchen Japan Sheba. He is the scholar, and he's like a Gomang, scholars from Gomang monastery, they rely heavily upon Quintchen's document. So when they interpret, when they do a philosophical debate, they use Quintchen's document, commonly called Quintchen's document, and also monastery like Lapang Tajikil and also certain parts of Mongolia, they base their interpretation or their a lot of learnings upon Quintchen's interpretation. But on the other hand, Sarah, because pension ka jibun lo selling
da galan sharse
within the Drebung, there's Drebung, Gomang and Lo Selling. So the Gomang relies upon Quintchen's document and Lo Selling, and then from Ganden, sub-school Ganden Shartse, they rely heavily upon the interpretation of Pension's document, Pension's Sonam Thagwa. So that's why when the monks do a debate, they cite or they quote from their own kind of sources. And these two scholars, there are many points where they do a philosophical debate. So Penchen Sonam Thagpa is considered as the direct disciples of the Lama Tsongkhapa. So Dulzin Tabaja wasn't
Tabaja.
Dulzin Tabaja, it's Dulzin Tabaja is the name, the immediate follower or students of the Lama Tsongkhapa, and then later, Panchen Sonam Thapa. So if you kind of look back into the lineages, it's the direct disciples of the Lama Tsongkhapa, and nowadays, believing kind of sort of reincarnation is considered as the Ngari Rinpoche, the youngest brother of the Dalai Lama. So, but when you look at the other scholar, Kunchen Jawan Sherpa, Kunchen Jawan Sherpa is considered as the reincarnation of the Chandrakirti. And during the Buddha's time, his name, the Tibetan name is Timirtap, is the person during Buddha's time, and then later, Chandrakirti, and then in Tibet, reincarnated as the Kunchen Jawan Sherpa. So these two, both are great, learned scholars, practitioners, and there are a lot of things where, they debate. So therefore, when you learn the scriptures, these two names comes often. So the another Geshe-la, mentioned one point where they disagree is when you look at the five path, at the path of seeing, there is uninterrupted path of seeing, if you remember. So Panchen, he says that at the uninterrupted path of seeing, in the mind stream of the consciousness, in the mind stream of the practitioner, there is no, bodhicitta or altruistic mind. But Kunchen, he says that, at that level, uninterrupted path of seeing, within the mind stream of the practitioner, bodhicitta or altruistic mind does exist. So when altruistic mind exists, it doesn't have to exist in a manifested way. It can exist in a hidden way. So these are some kind of points where these two great scholars kind of debate or disagree.
And Kunjinja, Yonangurdo Yogumare, baby, Conjurdo Yonandigre. The mena, Parchamelam Bate, any Chanjusaba Mareves. Any Chanjusaba in a Chanjusam, Yulmegan Chanjusaba Jatu Gurves. Those chins got a Kumbajita, but those. And not so Tolan, same gets on as Lave. Vasali, Romataki, Nilaika, Gazamala was a thing. Galsamatan, Galsamtana, Yamares. Cook Galsamtani, pick up to the time or some gets all over. And you cook courage. That was Galsamtani, Susi each other Zingora. Zindigala, cook courage in Tassel and Calacastle.
Tawashima, no selling it.
No selling it.
So, when they disagree on the whether the uninterrupted path, practitioners has an altruistic mind or not. Here, the way they interpret, as mentioned before, according to Panchen, he says that if altruistic mind does exist, then it has to exist in a kind of manifesting way. But as said before, according to Kunchen, it doesn't have to be kind of at the surface or manifested. It can exist in a hidden way. So then kind of Kunchen further kind of back up his statement saying that then if uninterrupted path doesn't possess an altruistic mind, then he or she won't be a bodhisattva at all. That can be true at the level of path of seeing. So just in a way of the debate, and Geshe-la mentioned about his own experience of debate, at the monastery with a monk who is from, Loseling, Drebung Loseling, the other school of the Drebung, monastic school. And that school, as said before, follows the Panchen's document, while Geshe-la's, school or monastic institution follows the Kunchen's. So obviously there will be a contradiction So at the beginning, Geshe-la kind of told him that don't bring the contradictory point of these two great scholars. Otherwise it would be kind of they have to be involved in a very kind of deep philosophical debate. But as the debate goes along, he brought up this kind of debate where the two masters or where their sources has a contradiction, and then finally kind of the other monk kind of end up not saying much so these are the things kind of debate that happens and goes in a monastic kind of institution.
Also, 거기 저를 나 운치대 던지기라 나와차 미정어정 년도 저 그래. 다때니 가슴 들이다나 로살린 트라바 감자인데나 로살린 트라바가 쳐지고 뭐다 다섯 단가 전에 배 셀라 쉬우리 이런 건데 그래 뺏기 왜 알아.
근주에
운치 처마서 지 저거래. 니네 정아. 아니 던지 처마 들랭이 정아 터진 돕자 쳐라라 그래. 뺏기 왜 알아.
군주도 니워도 가려 군주는 공가 써야 돼.
공가래. 던지 정가.
알레 뿅갈렘베.
던지. 이 뺏기 왜 알아. 뭐 문제 말이야. 야채 던지.
And related to this, Geshe-la said, because I said before, two sub school of the same monastery, Gomang, one is Loseling, one is Drebung, one is Gomang and one is Loseling. They kind of based, have a different, source of, the document. So they said, since both are, same group of same monastery, Drebung, they do have a retreat or camping where they spend time together, like 15 days in winter and 15 days in summer. So during those days, then both monks are together, and then they do a debate. And when they do a debate, it becomes sometimes intense because all the other groups there, they will be all come together trying to maintain and back up their evidence of their document, while Gomang, the monks will go on the other side, So, but Geshe-la said, so they spend kind of quite a long time at night, debating intensely, and used to be a really kind of Geshe-la said, good and fun time.
아니 라베타마 고마인도 온다 제가 지금도. 리시원 얘기를 와. 거기 막 고마인다 나가지기.
He said, Bob Thurman or Robert Thurman, he considered himself as the Gomang, belongs to the Gomang school monastery.
오늘 전에 리시왕게 기루다 오늘 어디나라 저선지 숨던도 없고 오늘 리시왕게 개발진보다 기루 저선 숨던 다 오늘 아메리카나 펜디다레 순가 지플라 라베터만 지그레 지니 저브르 호킹 지그레 자상스기도
잭슨네
자상세대 소부리 민지레사
자상
단다 람림 청무기로 있어.
네.
다 그시원게 거나 최소다 이게문들.
In case of Geshe Wangyal, who is from Gomang, Drebung Gomang. Gomang, and he himself was actually Mongolian. So three of the great, Buddhist scholars in America, are his student, and one is Robert Thurman, another is Jeffrey Hawkins, and then third one is said Chasang or something. It's a Mongolian name. He translated stages of path into English.
보다 दूसरे 다 선점배 생이 예완 다시 누수되지도 지든 금일에 정원된 루든데비 남베투다 마와 간사데 선점배 생이지 다 지든 시디가라 나랑저 하긴 이어버선지 통도 난 시비 시바다 파기 양체수 다 지든 배낭 아주 니나 통도 저세 강라 다 셰베 파기 바자 셀웨던 게 다때 바자 시두가라 간디시 장으로 바자 간디시 고고하래 우지 가래가당 우지 이양 뺏 코나 거기 군시 두바 이시들이 바자 우지데 우지데 군시 당도 고고하래 군시 세인데 다양 셰파 참으시래 두바 이시를 타래 senzambe yushi yen de guare dode pada tezo ni da kujin de gumare pada te kebarega indugala ya dubai ishi de gujiche eni te thando ene baja hosi de gala bagi jaje ni leti bajang으로 po ngarasu ta migwa chena migwa le de bajang으로 po eni baja데 바장은 대샤고 아니 남지 텔레 셀렌세바니기 텐데나 중이네 이게 바세바도 고발렘바 인도아 디니기 손대 용도가라 이 코야 셀용고 어디 두스지니 디송도 바자 빼데 오건디 나라 고반조나 다 오바도 유착으로 바 디마데 도동 되기도 어때나 이제 바자도 딘디지라 빼장도 어디 두스지니 어디 디 나랑조나 시비체듯이 바자 서버 중에 세고래 우리 당그 바자 서버 중에 딘디가라 다 선잠베 주다 준짐베 체마니 제지레 라가 주기당기 바기 가르잖아 준진 체마데 주데 코 바자칠 히어로 तती इंडी जेजी जेजी इंडी तान जे सातुन जिबादे संजमे लुला काचा छासोने yang जुनु जुनु माजे तातुन जिबा जु छिरोल्तोन टुबान जिबा तेजो गंगा गाजारे तेजो 벤 켄거래 어디 तेजो 디레 인디가라 바기 지든 케밀린 제왕 된두든데 어다 제왕전에 바기 낭 셰바 니 덴버투바 어다 데베 대진기 두다마 가자 제라마이 선자메 생긴지 데라이나 선자 남덴바다 남준바 니인지 띵이 개버리 문즈미시 랑몬보 나와데 남된징이 개버라 다 문즈미시 나다 선지미시나 미시기 바기 문보 나용도 갈라 간지난기래 다티기 개버때가네 남된징이 개버치거래 저비시나 문보도 저비시지 남대미 문즈미시랑 문보 나왔다도 두바키래 남준데 문즈미시랑 문보 나왔다도 마두바 켈미치르스 야다 남준징이 문즈미시랑 문보 나왔다 문보 라파 나와 문보 치롤도 나와 자양 남대미 문즈미시랑 문보 치롤도 나와라 마리 벨라바주 문보 나왔다 문보 라파 나와라 마리 벨마 마주반도 비치르다 남대미 티 개발디 중도아 아 문보 라파 낭 세야당 문보 치롤도 낭 세야 문보 낭 세기 중도아 이라 개발 문보 치도 나와데 선자멜랑 가자 차대요 자지게 탄다 로 던티 마레 문보 나야다 문보 라파 나야니 로 던튼지 되게 개발 차대요
Going back to the text is on page 249, the mind-only school. The presentation of the tenets of the proponents of mind-only is in 4 parts: definition, subschools, etymology, and assertions of tenets. First, the definition. The definition of a proponent of mind-only is a person propounding Buddhist tenets who asserts the true existence of other power natures but does not assert external objects. So here, the does not assert external objects. As said before, when they talk about external object, there's, as I mentioned before, when we see, things out there, according to mind-only school, they are merely seeing sort of the reflection of the mind, or sort of nature of the mind. What you see out there is not totally separate from the mind itself, and they says that the object out there and the consciousness apprehending that object has is basically a same entity. They are not separate entity. They are same entity. So therefore, what you are seeing by your consciousness, the consciousness that sees that object and the object out there is not two separate things. It's basically one thing. But then as said before, they use kind of mental imprints. It's kind of sort of awakening of the mental imprints, and what you see out there, becomes kind of mental imprints on your consciousness. Then so you have that mental imprints from the past, or maybe you have just created a new mental imprints, and these mental imprints will stay on the consciousness. And in the future, when there is a factors and causes, if encounter, those will help ripen that consciousness, and then the consciousness sort of become awake and make you see that things. So the question here, when they ask, if consciousness, where does that mental imprint stay as a mental imprint on your consciousness? Here, the mind-only school, when you look at the the classifications of the mind or consciousness, they classify that into kind of 8 category, and on top of the 6, the normal or usual, they add kind of diluted consciousness or awareness, and then on top of that they add mind basis of all. So mind basis of all is the the consciousness, or the mind which serve as the basis for the mental imprints. And but when you look at the other school of thoughts, you might remember, they are only kind of 6 consciousness, eye, ear, nose, and then 6th one is the mental consciousness. So if you create the negative activities, that negative activity becomes sort of mental imprints, and it will stay as a mental imprints on your mind basis of all, which is a consciousness. And then in the future, when that mind basis of all encounters factors and conditions, the factors and conditions here is the from the 12 links of dependent origination. It's craving and grasping. When craving and grasping kind of become factors and conditions met with your mental imprints, your kind of mental imprints sort of awake and function. The example they use is of the mental imprints is when you grind garlic in those stone pot. After taking out the garlic, the smell is still there. So that is how kind of according to this school, mental imprints stay there, although you don't see it, that object there. So so although the actual existence of the the karma is ceased, but the potential or ability is still there. Like in the garlic bowl, there is no garlic, but you still kind of smell that smell of garlic, although garlic is not there. The potential is there, or there's kind of imprints is there. So let's go back to the text. Page 249. Under the definition, you can have there's also note, which is not the part of the translation. So I will go back to the next page on page 250. Sub-schools, proponents of mind only are of two types: true expectarians and false expectarians. Differences exist between these two groups because an appearance of a blue patch as blue to an eye consciousness perceiving blue is the aspect that is the basis of debate between the true and false expectarians. And true expectarians assert that an appearance of blue as blue to an eye consciousness apprehending blue exists as it appears, whereas false expectarians maintain that an appearance of blue as a blue does not exist as it appears to an eye consciousness apprehending blue. I will continue with the reading. You can read the note. Page 251. Both the above presentation is correct because both the true and false expectarians are similar in asserting that blue appears as blue to an eye consciousness apprehending blue. They are also similar in asserting that blue appears as a gross object to an eye consciousness apprehending blue, and that blue falsely appears to be an external object. Third, however, the true expectarians assert that an appearance of blue as an external object to an eye consciousness apprehending blue is polluted by ignorance, but that an appearance of blue as blue and an appearance of blue as a gross object are not polluted by ignorance, whereas the false expectarians assert not only that an appearance of blue as an external object is polluted by ignorance, but also that an appearance of blue as a blue and an appearance of blue as a gross object is polluted by ignorance. To kind of make it brief, according to mind only school, it doesn't matter what apprehending consciousness is or what the object is. Here they use the blue apprehending eye consciousness, seeing a blue color. So seeing or apprehending blue color as a totally separate from the consciousness, seeing a blue color according to this school is kind of contradiction or something that needs to be negated, because as said before, eye consciousness apprehending blue color and the blue color out there according to this school is has the same entity. It's kind of basically the same. There is no two separate consciousness apprehending blue color and blue color out there is not two separate. They are same thing. So the 3 points they mention here, ngombo rabotan de loten ngombo da ngombo rabotan de loten de res
ngombo nawada ngombo raba nawada loten de chade res ngombo chroto no nasona koi kolan gacha chade.
So as seeing a blue color as a totally separate from the consciousness, seeing apprehending a blue color, the gross the ngombo nawada ngombo raba nawada. Seeing a blue color as a blue to consciousness is, according to this school, is a meaningful or correct ways of seeing or perception, or seeing a gross level of blue color by eye consciousness apprehending a blue color is also a meaningful or right ways of seeing or perception. But as said before, if eye consciousness sees blue color as a totally separate entity or separate things from the eye consciousness itself, then that is kind of not according to the they kind of negate this kind of way of seeing or apprehension.
Nan dinging dusul yantos madai ungres. That the on doing grace. 남dembe ngunzi michi langobo chirotu do nawala mari pelle bajula ngombo nawada ngombo raba nawala mari malle ba majubande bichire sedeta namdembe lula ngombo chirotu do nawala mari pelle baju sede karza ngombo chirotu do nawada ko gaja indugala ti chitun do na sona ta ko lo loche lo tulsi agi le baju sore chitun do yo mari sa sungora ngombo raba nawada ngombo nawade lo tuntun ti na mari pelle baju yo mari sede ta namdembe te sungdoa 다 남순배 공부 치료도 나왔는데 맞에 공부 라바 나왔다 공부 나왔다 공부 라바 나야 말이 별로 가지고도 비치르지 다 남순배 다티 말이스 공부 치료도 나왔다 맞에 공부 나왔다 공부 라바 나와야 코 낭지데 치든 하기 낭지데 때 차디요 티 인도가라 이 현진이 ngombo raba nawada ngombo na insa tela mari billa vishu yores oda namden jingi kebar tin chingodo ta ti indugala ta ini namden singi kare jagare namden singi kare jagare di singi le kebar jiyonde dena senzamba kaaji washe la raba nawal ta dutu bante be namden singi dena senzamba kaaji washe la raba nawal ta du matu bante ba namden singi oda duschine nene namden batela onga chesala naso nyimbe ba zunzin tanyam ba zete sumyari odeti jemade chena tirim dige jashana mare
Page 252, Geshe-la read that again. However, the third point, true expectation, I said that, and I'm not going to read it again. So, the differences between true expectations and the false expectations here, the text is basically saying, the differences between these two. So the true expectations, what they say is that, I'll try to make it simple. When eye consciousness look at the blue color and you see a blue color, right? So if you see a blue color external to your consciousness, then this true expectation says that way of seeing is deluded, is misconception. When you see a blue color sort of totally separate or external to your consciousness, that is misconception. It is deluded by the misconception. So that is not right way of seeing it. And but when it mentions kind of three ways of seeing. The first one is when you see blue color external to your eye consciousness, that is mistaken or deluded way of seeing. And second and third, if you see gross level of blue color, that is not mistaken. If you see blue color as just a simple blue with a blue color out there, that is also not mistaken. So the first way of seeing blue color totally separate or external to the consciousness is a mistaken, deluded. So that is not kind of according to the mind-only school. So kind of three levels. But false expectations, they say that not only the false expectations is that all three ways of seeing are basically a wrong way of seeing. You see kind of gross level or simply a blue color because of the the first way of seeing, which is wrong, which is misconception. Because the first way of seeing, when you look at the blue color out there, appearance or seeing that blue color is out there totally separate from my consciousness, that itself is the wrong. So therefore, when you see whatever level of blue color, gross or simply color, both of these two are kind of mistaken. So this is what kind of I guess probably the easiest way to put it. So you can read point 3, which I think the whole paragraph is a one sentence.
Don't take a breath.
Just do now page 252. Therefore, the definition of a true expectarian proponent of mind only is a proponent of mind only who asserts that an appearance of a gross object to a sense consciousness exists as it appears. The definition of a false expectarian proponent of mind only is a proponent of mind only who asserts that an appearance of a gross object to a sense consciousness does not exist as it appears. There are three types of true expectarians: proponents of an equal number of subjects and objects, half-ageist, and non-pluralist. So, Vishal said we will stop here for today.
Deola zunzin tang ma wa chesal na zangi ma bas dusu manda to slos ting diga jashan to atamada.
So you can just read further of these three kind of sub schools of true expectarians. What are they? Why are they different? And I think it is also in your probably in the note 253. Yeah, question. We still have some time.
When we talk about subtle differences between the higher schools and between the Mahayana and the Hinayana, it seems like there's all these little differences, like the mind-only teachings came from Maitreya to Asanga, but then those conflict with Nagarjuna's teaching, and it seems to me that from the side of enlightenment, there can't be any conflict. And so it seems that, all of these differences are not actually real, but they are given that way for the level of where the students and the disciples are at.
Tongal de tong dus da jubda jamin parala kebar da kebar thamod cheng du sera deshin sem zambero shna da kewa chamba da ma yong du song ya uma ba indi zambalo ma chazan da kala gore lurug jambe ya jambe indi chazan de da kala gore 콩 독사리 차자 더 상계라고 탐지 좀 콩 투디 zambalo en mama kebar denzo 뇌수 대응에서 개발을 요섬 말에서 다들 갈로래 장애기 두다 장애기 올라가게 된데 갈로래 개발 통과해서 만도 지금 대응을 다 되려나 단다 더 전주선 받은 저 바로 결다 차도로 와서
그거 디레스 저기 공도 제름 정도 köki chin kanzaba tendelin la samde juus sungyon gala ko denji sumani zunde phage nga gi teba bardu te ngomade nilu to ek thapsi siji de de ina sunda manda dan chidu cheven duje lola phane sunda manda yor ba phara yoya de logi phage lo membala tawachi phagi thardu de uma thangyu tawa nga ge ne esel tel number che de ti lamsam kolate na lola mare inza kona lola ramba je chama tawa da su de bal tawa su senzamal tawa du sura chomden de suya kona dulje lon dulia ton dal sungwar ma da nga shigi ni kiranzo ne pe tawa thartu den dire in dana dire mandan dire sumido te suna chomden de sung duljan dual tabla make ba chasro chomden de duljan dual tabla ke ba inza dulde lola paneni ya the ni karsa hacking legmide rinjangi ke ba inako sajata tadala phagi ngaso capture di tichini nyami yongin de tata ringot kalil thidu gro kai thap khebo mengen de karche gre nima tangpo da argu chi uchta gyuchi ene sangi thanche ringo mala beche gro chomden pe thap khebo inza ko nyami yongin koran dini pe negi inza nyami maji inje so de galdu pe ya mari samgare
as we mentioned in the class before, quote from Jezong Kappa, in his text, appreciating, appreciation of dependent origination. There's a sentence which says that, whatever you taught, everything comes down upon dependent origination. So there are many different teachings, by Buddha, and all are, ultimately meant to help us to understand the reality. And but in order to have that ultimate understanding of reality, there are different ways of teaching. Different way of presentation of the philosophical thoughts, tenets. So that's the reason why there are different ways of presentation, and this, as you said, is based upon the mental dispositions of the followers who follow Buddhist teaching, and so for the followers whose mental disposition is kind of appropriate, to the Great Exposition School's philosophies were taught, and to the Mind-Only School, so whatever is appropriate to the level of the followers, and although the highest or the ultimate destination is tantric practice, through tantric practice, understanding or achieving of the clear light, but Buddha didn't start from the beginning saying that I am the enlightened, and this is the teaching that I understood or achieved through enlightenment. So here, this is my teaching. He didn't start that way. That's why we appreciate Buddha as possessing a skillful means of teaching, and he taught according to the level of different skills of the followers. And this simple example would be, Geshe-la said, hikers who climb up high mountains. From the first day, they don't kind of spend whole day climbing, go as high as they can. They don't do that. They climb up and they know where to take a rest. And then they take a rest, and then take their rest at the appropriate kind of altitude or the point where it is required. So with that, they get to the top of the mountain, eventually with good health, and But if you start from the first day, walk fast, and then it's kind of not much kind of less possibility that you can reach to the top with in a good kind of state of health. So climbing appropriately according to the level, so Geshe said he don't think that although you kind of these seemingly contradictory interpretations, but he don't think these are contradictions. These are simply kind of ways of a different presentation according to the different levels of the followers mentality.
Anta chambadan jayaligi yubat siyade karzana keba chambi chudi pa nindu debana jinji jene kemena jinjene yongda ji sungyambale chedu jawin duljade oni wangbu nombo dendila mato sungmeinza phagi tidi kala ko chedu jawin dulja janju sabashi jinza ka dugende jambadan ja chana do jila sobi ka dudwa chik phagi nyendel osunga ne be teso ko duimido tejing tin jugala 점된 데 진래 팬이 아니 지진 잠바 배 야진 집이 기디 지진 잠배기 바잡 점막 따위 기디 아니 잠배양기 바잡 잠배양기 아니 마오반 몸불루투르나 이 지진 잠바도 바바 토멜레나 대 점된 데 룽기지디 에 신호설체 세대 에 리능도 그래 또 신이가라 대수강가 자기 코 미다마서나 체두제wen 둘제 민 둘제나라 덴데기 왕본 넘버 메인사 라이텐 징게 이진 잠바다 잠베야라 장주세바 이줄랭게 때 우스제네 코란조 가디 우스지나 데딩디발라 이요 바기 용자 제디 투모도 투모만데 소도 투모 세디갈라 용자 제니 깡갈라 순샤게 투모레 투모만 임바세디갈라 코란 뭐니 미 파기도 로라 렘바 파기 카란 따다 마바이나 마송아데 투모만 임바 차바 인디갈라 대진디 투모만 임바 차네니 디진 투모만 임바베 장주 세바데나 마가 녀르테 야마레스 저 두스리 규진데리
and you know the reason as said before, you know, Maitreya and Manjushri, these two bodhisattvas, you know, when you look at the origin of the Mahayana teaching is not taught openly or commonly like the teachings of the Visavika or Hinayana or Theravadins. So, and the Mahayana teaching is taught specifically for the disciple with high intelligence, and the bodhisattvas, and when you look at the the teachings later kind of gathering of the Buddhist teaching, the gathering or kind of putting together of the Mahayana teachings were done by the bodhisattvas, not by the ordinary human being like the lesser vehicles.
Nyerveda osun chokmoda sendachinda the tezogu dene kadene sunde tezogu durwa durete teaching dene tezo 장주 세바 저기 나도 신바든 저 태면들 전주스마 말했어요. 야 말해. 장주 세바 말해. 녀르베다다 센다진지가 니도 순종부터서 님들 나좀발.
So the when after passing away of the Buddha, the general teachings of the Buddha, which is more open, or of which characterize we nowadays as the teachings of lesser vehicles or Hinayana, are kind of put together by the practitioners. Kishara mentioned the name of Nyerbe, Nyen Chimbu Yusung, and those were four destroyers. Those were not bodhisattvas. But for the Mahayana teachings, after Buddha's passing away, two main lineages. The first one is extensive, lineages of the practice is, after Buddha's passing away, is passed on to Maitreya Buddha, and then from Maitreya, to Asanga, and the second profound lineages of the philosophy, Buddha passed on to the Manjushri, and Manjushri to Nagarjuna. So, generally, when you look at the Buddhist teaching, we kind of categorize into two: common and unique. The common is, that Buddha kind of taught openly, and Theravada's teaching or lesser vehicles teaching. But the unique are the teachings that Buddha, made specifically to the kind of targeted, students or followers who are, more skillful. So when you look at, the chronology, you can see the immediate receiver of the Mahayana's teachings are bodhisattvas, not ordinary. I mean, the Gyawa Chambada Chanju Sembare, so bodhisattvas, not ordinary kind of practitioners or human being.
Nive segeze diyoruz. Nive segne jana chador namkini bo sayin bo divanam sezete tindi sege yoruz. Yes. Chanju seba korchang shuseva sidigala da dizo chamdele parla.
So, there are 8 close disciples or 8 immediate disciples of the Buddha. So, under those 8 comes, the Maitreya Buddha and Manjushri, and those, Vajradhara, and these are the bodhisattvas who kind of, receive teachings from Buddha and then pass on to the, next kind of lineages.
The member, young, dinner, Kunjin Haching China Soyer, Shijing into the that Raptang, Pultang, Cannon Bares, Bach Bares. The imbade, Niji the young days on the Shevichers Songa. Nijina, Niji Sidigala, Tambo, Chim Masongola, Juma the Shukware. Young day Sidigala, Jinchilani, they at the Sungware. Each Sidiga, Niji can the Canis Shivers Sigala, because sharing Nimbo, Sunji Jungin, Jung Gayana, Pachakoy Girezo. Sharing him, Serging in Dosun of the Gala. Yundu, Jangan de Tiggy on Mari. And Lomatazika, Chedicha to Jatazikavani, Jangan de Digiani, Jangan de Pay, Chedi Sungar. Searching in Dosun of the Gala, the Nemari. Pet Jago Bumbirilla, searching in Dosun in the Gala, Juti the Jangan de Rangika. Any you should Masum Gondela, any Jutila Kora Sumka, Chasum say. Any Jutigal Jedi, little and art today. Any Jadetu, Jene, Jale Kachitu, Jene, Nari. Dinayade, Chumdendi, Hondan Sachimbu in the Juti Yavamari. Sitting in Dode, Sachimbu, pull to Juma, a rat imbiguzen, or the Nijika to Sungares. Yonde Gandela, any Chundende Jingilame, Kungao, Yunda Chambare, Janshusava Mare, Kungao, Chundende Saure, Kungao la Jingilame, Day on the Gala, Karangi, Tandaporto, Nitugo, Pijanala, Sunala, Janda Lama, Kiyon Mares, searching into the Tiji Lame, Nikumi, Dujamains of Kana. Jipet, Edugala Savage, Indugala, searching into the Hollywood batch of him, but Linjiki on this one, she says,
Also when we look at the, one of the statement from the great scholar Quinkin, we mentioned before, Quinkin Jagan Shepa. In his, you find this kind of statement at the first chapter of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra's text, and at the end of first chapter there is a section where the author does kind of analysis, and that section, Quintin says that the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra is the, that the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra is the, a supreme, a best, and kind of, complete and perfect. He greatly kind of appreciate, this sacredness of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So here, the perfection of Wisdom Sutra, which is that, if you listen to the Heart Sutra's teaching, you might have, heard this. So the perfection of the Wisdom Sutra is so sacred, special, that there is a, additional comment at the preliminary of the teaching, and also later when the teaching is finished, there is a kind of, sort of, again, there's an additional, conclusion part. So the importance of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra is mentioned at the before teaching and after the, teaching of the sutra itself. So the before, preliminary teaching of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Generally, when Buddha gave a teaching, his followers, will arrange and build a throne, and Buddha will sit and he gave a teaching. But when Buddha did the teaching of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra at the Vulture Peak Mountain, Buddha himself has created a throne for himself, and then Sangye Shukti Kurana Kyunis. So I know Buddha did kind of unique thing when he did the the presentation of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So the preliminary part, he built his own, arranged his own throne, and then he circled 3 times. He prostrated three times to his throne, and then he will recite the prayers to kind of control or eliminate negative demons or evils forces, and he kind of extend his tongue out and covered whole his face. That Kajal said it kind of shows the auspicious sign of his tongue. So after going through all this, then Buddha started giving this teaching of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So the reason why Buddha did so kind of special steps when he did the presentation is not because he is a Buddha, but because the teaching that he is going to give is unique, is special. And after finishing the the teaching of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, Buddha strongly emphasized his immediate disciple Anand. He is a foe destroyer, Anand. That if you kind of misplaced or lost single words from my sutra, from this teaching, Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, then you won't be my disciple. So Buddha kind of really strongly emphasized the importance of this text or teaching. You got the opinion on the teaching card did it over.
Oh, that teaching card, teaching in Tode, Halibut Chimbodan, 2 more beijing, but they think to us.
So this kind of whole ways of presentation shows that the teaching of the of Mahayana vehicle is unique and kind of extra sort of caution, respect that Buddha himself presented. The clear light, is present kind of categorized into 2, based on subject and based on object. And during the presentations of this, Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, Buddha kind of mentioned about the clear light of the object yugre.
Yeah.
Ari Rave Kurve Shingamse Pendang Deva Male Jungwe Chere Siwa Tenzin Yazo Shabe Side Bado Tengyo Je Jambe Pawe Jitra Chembo Kondo Sambo Deyan Deshen Den Tega Gungi Jesu Balo Je Bewa Dita Tamje Rato Tezom Shabe Yawa Tamje Yewa Kangla Chado Ngwa Denda Jenge Tawa Dege Zambo Jenje Rabdo Ngwa in the land encircled by snow-white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefits flows in your presence, Huesi Tenzin Gyatso,
remained until samsara ends. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samandabha to so now do I dedicate these merits. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future praise dedication is supreme, so now I do dedicate these days of my merits to all beings.